Welcome to Discussing Dad Life, DDL. I'm Void with Noel right here, my heterosexual partner for life, to discuss various topics. Please like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate it. Today we'll be talking about some current events, the Russian coup d'etat. What do you know about it?
I know that the Wagner Group is like supposedly occupying Moscow. That's about as much as I know.
All right, so this is what I've heard.
Okay.
Now, what's real, what's not, I don't know. I'm not there personally,
Yeah.
So something happened to the soldiers, the Wagner Group soldiers, like they got bombed or something,
Yeah,
right?
they got shelled.
So they said you and turn around, started heading towards Russia and they had a list, I guess, of people that they were going after straight up. But before anything happened, they got a phone call, apparently, like a little, satellite phone or something, and they discussed it and everything's fine now. And then they turned back around and went back to their base.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Shady.
Yeah. So so I was listening to a different podcast last night.
Okay.
They were actually talking about this. And one thing that they brought up that I kind of actually would more lean towards, which is they're mercenaries. The Wagner Group's a mercenary group, right?
Guns for hire. Yeah.
So why wouldn't the U.S. or the Western forces just go to them and say, "Hey, how much are you getting paid?"
Especially with that $6.2 billion that they just magically appeared.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. So like, oh yeah, we just needed to have that accounting error to pay these guys off.
Yeah.
So they're going to basically turn around. I don't know.
6.2 counting error.
Isn't that like the second accounting error that they've done now? In like the last like 3 months. Fuck. It's stupid.
Yeah. They think we're stupid.
Obviously. So, I mean, but it is interesting that that's probably more likely what ended up happening is we paid them off, and potentially is going to be a civil war based on that in Russia. I really don't. I think it's just propaganda at this point. There's nothing been confirmed, so it's
everything's still up in the air, I think.
Oh, and then our media is sitting here saying like, oh, Ukraine's winning, but if you look at like the current
statistics,
the current map, of occupied territory, Russia keeps expanding. So it's like we know the media is lying to us.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's
another topic.
Mainstream media is dead. It's horrible.
It is.
It's absolutely stupid. Don't get your news from mainstream media, please. If you do, you might want to reevaluate what you're doing with your life.
Some life choices need to be made.
Yeah, I mean, why are you going to listen to someone that's paid to lie to you? I don't get it.
Right?
It's
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So,
moving along.
Moving along.
Topic one. Would you? How would you say this? The end of relationships. Relationships end in various ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have experience with ending a relationship and it being ended on you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Likewise.
Yep.
So with you, who ended it?
My partners.
Your partners?
Typically. I think I'm only broken up out of all the relationships, past girlfriends and my ex-wife. I think I've broken up with maybe one.
Really?
Well, take that back. My last one, if she wouldn't have left, I would have made her leave.
Really? That bad?
I was over. I was. No,
I've been there before.
But it was nice because she felt the same way. So,
that
makes it nice, right? So relationships. I mean, typically, in my view, women and relationships. Is that your stance, or what are your thoughts?
In most of my relationships, I ended it.
You ended it.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a kind of oddball.
Yeah, I ended most of my relationships. Now, did I want some of them to continue and flourish and be good things? Yes, I did. But I also saw where it was heading.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
So you pulled the plug just because you recognize the
on all the major relationships in my life, like the ones that actually mean something, not a one night stand or anything like that. Yeah, dude. I was mostly the one to pull it. You know what I mean? Had one accusing me of freaking everything to creating the world. You know what I mean? It was horrible. And I was at work and it was like, you know what, dude, just pack your shit and get the fuck out.
That was when we were working together, because I remember.
Yeah.
That was one of the times. Shit, I forgot about that.
And it's just like, I mean, thank God it ended up with me having the kids, because I don't even want to think what would have happened if she would have got those kids. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just blessed and happy with where I'm at today. So fuck the past.
So like I said, I think women typically end relationships, and I think they're encouraged to. I think our legal system right now, the way it's set up, is the laws are written to encourage women to divorce.
Yeah, men. Here, you leave that motherfucker.
Well, and then culturally, they're also encouraged to leave their man. Right? They're always women. I've always liked this term ever since I heard it. Hypergamy.
Hypergamy. Elaborate.
So hypergamy basically means that women search for the best mate possible.
Meaning, they
right. So I mean, we have different sexual mating strategies, right, between men and women. Women look for quality, men look for quantity. It's kind of a basic principle of
generally speaking,
generally speaking, right? Sure, there are oddballs, there are exceptions to the rule. But hypergamy is basically the concept of how women mate select, and women tend to mate select based upon status and provisioning, who can provide them the best life possible. Now, when you fail to live up to those expectations as a man, which men and I'm guilty of this, men typically fail. They think, hey, I'm in the relationship, I don't have to try as hard anymore. And that is going to be the end of the relationship. You don't even realize it. It can be 7 years down the road.
Self-sabotage.
You've self-sabotaged yourself. You have set that up for the woman to say, you know what, you're not the man I thought you were when I married you, because you've changed. You've lost that ambition. You've lost that
drive.
That drive, I guess, basically, you know. And unfortunately, and maybe this might be a tip for the ladies out there if you're listening, don't nag your husband, right? Your husband or your man is always going to want to do things for you.
Yes.
When you nag on him, though, what you end up doing is actually making it so he resents you. He doesn't want to do it because he wants to help you. He doesn't want to be told to do something. So if you need the help, ask for the help. Make it appear that you need the help.
Yeah.
Because then he will, right? It's just like this. Let's say you're walking down the street and you see a old lady carrying a bag of groceries. Are you going to stop and help her?
I mean, generally speaking, not right out the gate, you know, or an old lady.
Yeah. Like an old lady. She's struggling carrying her bags.
Oh, I might ask, you know, hey, can I help you out? You know,
right.
Get them in your car at least or something.
Now, let's say you're walking down the street or someone's built similar to you carrying a bag of groceries. Are you even going to think about offering help?
No, probably not. You know
exactly. What I mean? Right. So men like to help people in need.
Yeah.
Right.
I do.
So I'm sorry, we're getting off way on a tangent here, but it's interesting, right? So just free advice, I guess. Free advice. Take it for what it's worth.
He said, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. So, but this kind of does lead into the next part of this, which is why do women actually leave, or what causes the end of that relationship? In your case, you're recognizing the end and you're pulling out.
Yeah, absolutely. In my situation, because I'm taking the stance of the person leaving, you know what I mean? It was a nightmare. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I was doing literally everything. You know, she gave birth, which, you know, we already talked about that in previous episode where it was like, yeah, you do your, you know, but after that, it was like, I was doing everything, man. I was doing the cooking and the cleaning and taking care of the baby. She didn't breastfeed.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like once I feel like I'm doing everything, like it just, to me, it just seems so one-sided. Like, what the hell, man? I don't need you.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know about other people's relationships or how they dealt with that, but you know, and also drugs came into play too. You know what I mean? I think maybe she was more influenced by her friends. You know what I mean? And he's always gone because I was always working. You remember that?
Yeah.
And it was like, well, how do you expect to have all these things? Like we weren't doing great, but we weren't on the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think got into her ear.
I'm gonna get off on a little tangent here, just because you brought up something that made me think of something. So feminism, right?
Oh god.
So sorry, little controversial take right here, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So feminism, ding, ding, right? Ding. They think that men want to oppress women. right?
Yes.
And you kind of hit the nail on the head. You're always working. Like, what do you want from me? You're always working, right?
Well, that's the way we have to do things nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
so think about this. Men, coal miners out in Pennsylvania, go down these deep, dark things, risk getting black lung. Do you think they're down there 12, 14, 16 hours a day trying to come up with ways on how to oppress women? Or are they thinking, I'm going to get through this so that way I get a paycheck and I can make sure she's taken care of. I can make sure my kids are taken care of. What do you think's more likely?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. They're thinking of that day by day, like, okay, here's my objective.
Yeah.
How do I obtain that objective?
Yeah, exactly.
I need this. I need that. Well, A goes to B to get C. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I agree with that completely.
So now that we're all done with that controversial take, back on topic. Sorry, hard segue right there. So yeah, common factors leading to the end of a relationship, in my opinion, are the simple fact that you as a man are failing to live up to your duties. Okay. Finances is usually the number one reason why relationships end.
Yeah.
And I would take it a step further. If your wife or woman out earns you, you're in a very precarious position.
I think the man's going to be a little bitter on that.
I don't think the man's going to be bitter on it. I think the woman is going to say,
why do I need you?
Why do I need you? Right. So I don't think it makes it for a healthy relationship. It doesn't make for a healthy dichotomy. So basically,
then you agree to the gender roles, like the man should be the head of the household and stuff like that.
I think biologically we are built that way, that we will go through and we will work 100 hours a day or 100 hours a week to make sure that you're provided that life.
Yeah, I would do that.
Personally speaking, I find a woman that doesn't have to be stressed and worried about things and having to take on masculine responsibilities much more attractive than masculine traits in a woman.
Yeah, no, right? I agree, because I'm not going to go, hit on,
right.
A chick that's fucking bodybuilding or anything like that.
So because of that, I think that the way I personally take it is you have to be in the leadership role. You have to provide for your family.
Yeah.
That it creates the best environment. Because you need a partner. If you want to have children, you need a partner.
Yeah.
And what you need to do is provide for your partner, so your partner can provide for the children.
I think it's a mutual go around when it comes to that. Like, if I'm working, and you're not, then you do what you can around the house. Just like make it fair. That I think it's not 50-50.
No,
it's a 100-100 thing in a relationship.
It is 100-100.
Exactly.
But I would say that there are differences in roles. So if I'm going to be out of my home for 100 hours a week, going through working, grinding, trying to make sure that you're taken care of, I would expect that my 100% energy in making sure that I'm bringing home, I'm hunting out of the house, getting the resources we need.
Yeah.
That you are there gathering those resources and making sure that they're one. One thing I always like to say about women is women are multipliers, right?
Okay.
So you give a woman some food, she's going to make you a meal.
Yep.
If you give a woman some sperm, she's going to make you a child.
Yes.
If you give a woman a house, she's going to take that house and turn it into a home. Women are multipliers.
Yeah.
They have a very important role to play in a relationship. And you, as the man, need to make sure that you are providing and giving her the things that she needs in order to be successful in her role, her natural role.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, finances, number one reason. Typically, that means that either you're doing something stupid like gambling, or you're not having the ambition, the drive to actually go and get more to make sure she is secure and comfortable and the kids are secure and comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's number one reason why divorces happen.
Yeah. No, well, money it's like a freaking thing that you have to have it, but like more money, more problems, man.
Yeah. More money, more problems. Right. So I'm going to step back. So when I say that I do believe in kind of traditional roles, that doesn't mean a woman can't work, but I want that to be a purely elective decision, not a force, not a requirement for her to go do.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We both have very different situations, right, in our lives.
Yes.
I am comfortable enough where I could bring on someone who wouldn't have to work.
Yeah.
That could literally stay home. where not a lot of people could do that.
Yeah. See, I can do that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I can do that. I mean, I'm doing that right now. And there's no issue. Like the only issues like I have is like turn the lights off when you're done. You know what I mean? Like quit running the power bill up. Exactly. Quit wasting shit. Like, but I mean, I can afford it. It's a little bit of a struggle sometimes, but like I like my woman staying home. I love my wife staying home because she gets to spend time with the kids.
And she doesn't have to stress.
Exactly. She doesn't have to
get the scars from the life.
Yeah. Right? The only thing that happens is go ahead.
Sorry, I'm going to ask this question. So as a man, you're wanting to provide and protect for your woman, right?
Absolutely.
100%. Part of that protection is you don't want her to come home with scars.
Yeah.
That's why you want her to stay home.
Yeah.
You want her to be taken care of. You want to know she's
I
safe.
want to take care of her.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You don't want her to have to go out there and deal with these.
No, man. I get nervous when she just drives to the grocery store or the gas station, put gas in her car. You know what I mean? Like, and I even tell her, hey, be careful every time before she leaves the door. You know what I mean? Like,
so controversial
take. Call me if you need to.
Controversial take.
Yeah.
And then we'll get back on subject.
All right, man. You're going bad on this one.
I am going bad on this one. That's just because this is something that
no, that's good, man. Come on.
It's really interesting. So my controversial take is this: women need to be protected, and you as the man should do the protection.
Yes.
That also includes protecting them from themselves sometimes. Because biologically, women are way more emotional than men.
Yes.
They're also more of a group think than men. Men tend to be stand on individuals, like the reward and accomplishments. So sometimes it is important to make sure that you step into your masculinity when she's about to make a dumb decision to help her.
Yeah. Put your foot down.
Yeah. And I hate to say it, put your foot down, but that in a lot of ways you do have to do that. You do have to make sure that you're protecting her from herself sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, man, no, you're good. I mean,
random takes.
There's a lot of different opinions about that.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm of the mind if there's something that I can allow her to, go out of her, splurge on or whatever, here, by all means, go ahead. Yeah. I like doing that for you. Now, if we don't have the money, hey, baby, we don't have the money. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's 100%. Usually the end of the argument because I'm very blessed right now to have a good woman. She's very understanding. She's nurturing. Like I said, dude, she cooks too. You know what I mean? I've never had a triple threat until now. So I'm holding on to this one. But
so this could be a whole other video in and of itself. I think we should actually
we'll go into it
because we could go really long on this.
Yeah.
Lots of different takes. So
we'll save that one for you guys later.
Exactly. Tune in. So relationship ends. Reasons why typically are finances, and then infidelity, I think, is the second reason why.
Infidelity.
That would be a whole other episode. I'm not even going to get started.
No, that's probably not. I've never,
I don't know. I don't think you and I have ever actually talked about infidelity and the roles that plays. So that'd be an interesting conversation to have on air.
Yeah, we could do that.
Right. So we should do that.
One of these days, we'll do that one. One of these days.
So relationship ends. Those two reasons are typically the reasons why.
Yeah.
What do you do? We've both been through it. What are some of the things you should do?
Well, okay. Well, here's the thing. Okay. I think the most important part after like that happens, were you emotionally invested?
I think
if you were, then you're going to need to take a step back and figure some shit out. Now, if you were already out the door before you actually physically left the door, it's a lot easier.
It is.
You know what I mean? Because when you're emotionally invested and it kind of just sideswipes you, you're not mentally, emotionally prepared for that. And it hits you harder.
True.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, if you've already been stepped out the door 3 months ago, it's not going to matter. You're going to be like, all right, hey, good. Nice to meet you. Have a good life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if there's kids, then hopefully by that time you guys can work out something with the kids. But like I said, if you're emotionally invested, like 100%, because it's going to kick you in the balls.
It is.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're going to need to take a step back, calmly collect yourself and figure out, okay, we're not together anymore. I'm going to see her with other people.
Yep.
I need to prepare for that.
Yep.
Because I know personally, I don't do well with that kind of shit. If I'm emotionally invested and I see some shit like, oh man, I'm gonna get hurt. You know what I mean?
Without getting too personal, I completely understand. I mean, when my marriage ended, I was not ready.
See, the opposite was for me.
Yeah. So, and I got to say that it did hit me like a Mack truck, man. Bowled me over. I was not in a good place for a couple months.
And she's the one who did that, or you decided to leave that one?
So I was the one that actually ended up filing for the divorce, but it was more or less because there was nothing left there.
Like it's always sad to see like somebody enter into a union like that and then it doesn't work out.
But on the highlight about that, I will say with 100% certainty that our relationship now is 1,000 times better
than See, that's we good.
Were ever married. It was the strangest thing. I tell that to everyone when I'm talking to them. They're like, how you doing? I'm just, I can't believe how well that relationship is now versus when we were married. We were not good married together.
And there's always exceptions. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So yeah, marriages kind of end, relationships end. Yeah. And then
nothing's forever. So they say.
And if those relationships produce children, I mean, how do you actually have that conversation with your child? Right.
Well, man, I was lucky. Like I said, the two, they're my older ones now that live with me. They were so small. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It didn't matter. Mom took off one day and she just never came back.
Fair.
So I got lucky, I didn't have to sit there and explain. But as they got older, I don't lie to my kids. Like, hey, this is who she is. I don't know why. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have an answer for that. And it's a little hurtful to say that, but I give them all my side of the story because there's two sides, and I give them, hey, this is mine. Maybe one day when you're older, you'll meet her, and then she can tell you your side and you can make that decision.
100%.
But I know that they love my wife now. So
that's their mom. You kind of hit on it. You address it as appropriate to their age, right?
Yes, definitely.
If they're young, they're not going to understand.
No.
They're a little bit older. They might have questions. You're going to have to respond. And being truthful and upfront with them, I think, is always the best policy. Do they need to know everything? No, I don't think they need to know everything.
Like you said, age appropriate.
Yeah. Will they eventually learn everything? I think if you're involved in their life, they are eventually going to learn everything.
Yeah. Well, if you're honest with them anyway,
you should be honest with them as it grows up, but you don't have to frame everything in a negative light.
No. And that's why I said I give them my facts.
You're not wanting to interfere in the relationship with the mother. And
no, absolutely not.
But you do want to make sure that they understand what happened as they grow up. So hopefully they can learn from your mistakes, right?
Yeah,
That's my thought process.
Yeah, no, definitely. They'll, like we were, saying prior, just you want your children to be better than you.
Yes.
The best versions of themselves, but better than you.
100%. So relationship ends. Like, so let's just go ahead and take my example. I filed for divorce. But that breakup actually was one of the smoothest breakups probably people could ask for. It was we sat down together, we talked everything out, came up with our own agreements, and basically moved forward. Right. So not all breakups are going to be tension filled.
No.
But some are.
Yeah. Like I said, there's always those exceptions to the rule. So with the case of my two oldest, it was rocky at first because I was in custody at the time. Okay. And the biological mom, she was messing up. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. You know what I mean? She was messing up. So from custody, from jail, I had to figure out how to get my kids away. You know what I mean? And I figured it out, but thank God for good friends. You know what I mean? And after that, when I finally got out of custody, and I was doing my own thing, my kids came back to me. So it wasn't like I had to go to court or anything like that until later down the road.
Yeah.
Now, later down the road, I met my current wife, but I had to get divorced from the other one. You know what I mean? that's where the legal troubles I started running into some a little bit because it's expensive. You know what I mean?
Very expensive.
If you hire an attorney, I think it's like three to $5,000, maybe even more if like, you know, both parties can't agree or something like that. I did it myself. I hired an attorney to just kind of guide me through the process.
Yep.
And I only spent $300 on it.
Yeah.
And I filed all the paperwork. I did everything. And we couldn't find, like, we ran newspaper ads on her last known address to like let her know that there was a filing of divorce. You know, I think it's like a summons or something like that. I don't know.
Something like that, yeah.
But we filed it for 90 days. On the 91st day, all right, you know, party couldn't be reached. Yeah, I had the sheriff's knock on the door, her last known address. I mean, I checked jails so I could mail her if she was in jail. She could not be found whatsoever. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are going to say, oh, why didn't you Facebook or TikTok or whatever? Listen, dude, when as bad as my relationship ended with that woman, nobody was friends to, you know what I mean? Nobody. It was not like that. It was freaking gladiator school.
So some relationships are
yeah,
right.
Dude.
Yeah, exactly. I completely get it.
So
but yeah, you hit on a very important part, which is going through. You went ahead and navigated the court yourself with the help of a lawyer, just kind of guiding you.
Yeah. I definitely had legal help doing it because, dude, it's so confusing. Like the way they word things, I think they do it on purpose. To be honest with you, but that's my own opinion.
Well, but you're hitting it right, because no matter what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to go through the legal battle. So if you can hire someone to help you guide you through it for cheaper, perfect. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Should have signed a prenup to begin with.
I had to go through court as well for not for the marriage ending, but for the first one. Just because after about, 3 months or 6 months of after my son was born, I didn't get to see him for almost a year.
Oh, wow.
So it took roughly a year to go through the court battle. And I have to thank my dad for this one, because he stepped in and helped me. I couldn't afford the lawyer on my own, and I didn't understand enough of it to go through it, but my dad stepped in and helped me out, paid for part of the lawyer.
That's awesome.
And ended up getting my visitation rights back.
That's cool.
And then spent the next couple years just working on it. Eventually ended up getting 50-50 custody, got child support and everything arranged, all that fun jazz. And then
I was going to say, like, how does that work? 50-50 custody, but you still, there's still a child support? That's because ridiculous.
Sorry, apologize. There is a thing, they look at your income base, right? So if she's not working, they look at what she possibly could make, which is minimum wage, 40 hours a week, whatever, versus what you make, right? And then they say, well, you're responsible for X amount of dollars, and she's responsible for X amount of dollars, and then the different, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think the laws need to be looked at and changed.
Definitely.
Just because if you are spending 50% of the time with your child and you're providing them with the things they need, why should you pay your ex, who may or may not use that money for the child?
Yeah.
How many stories are out there of women literally getting child support and then never spending a single time
hitting the club or buying booze or something,
and then just sitting there telling them how deadbeat of a dad they are,
like wench. Well, I think if the parents can, like in your situation, if they can come to an agreement, that is amazing, and there should be no child support. Why do the courts need to get involved in somebody's personal relationship? It's none of your goddamn business, in my opinion.
Well, I would agree with you.
You know what I mean?
So
no freaking reason.
Yeah, the court system is set up, and the bad part about it is the courts. You are going to spend a lot of money on a lawyer. Potentially, or like you navigated and figured it out.
Yep.
You can do that.
But
the courts are not set up for justice in any way, shape, or form for the father. The fathers are always viewed. In some states are different. So I didn't know this. I was listening to was it Just Pearly Things?
Okay.
I think that's who I was listening to, where she was actually talking about the differences in state laws. where some of them are like, oh, it's treated as 50-50, and there's other states that it's like 100% custody of the woman, and then you have to prove your whatever. So it's our legal system is not set up in favor of the man at all. And you are always going to be viewed as the bad parent, as the parent that should not have custody. I personally am of the manpower of the thought process that a woman and a man should co-parent.
Yes.
And if co-parenting is not an option because the relationship ended on such bad terms, or there's drugs or whatever else involved, then you need to look at whoever is actually the better parent.
Yeah.
And then also look at the statistics of how children turn out based on prior decisions. We have how much data dating back to the 60s now.
Yeah, there's a bunch of it. And just simple Google search will,
So there's a bunch of things that need to be done with our legal system when it comes to child custody.
Definitely.
And it comes with fathers and fathers' rights.
Yeah. Get all your state representatives.
Yeah. And then that kind of ties into a different topic, but we'll get on that one on a different one. Right. You know where I'm headed with that one.
I think so.
You know where I'm headed with that one, so we won't. Yeah. So, I mean, just dumb stuff. But you need to make sure that even though you're going through this contentious court battles in some instances, that it's worthwhile fighting.
It is.
It is worth the money spending in, because money is money, right? You can't take it with you when you're dead. But your child, you're imparting your wisdom, you're imparting your legacy upon them. So
that's what I was just about to say, legacy.
Much more important to do.
No, and think about it. You know what I mean? You don't want to miss out on birthdays. You don't want to miss out on those parts. Like, what happens when he gets older? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how many times we've said it in this, episode, but like, you want the best for them.
Yeah. 100%.
Use me as the example. You know what I mean? Don't do what I did. Just, you want them to flourish, man. I agree.
And then I think it's worth talking about those fathers that have gone through and have expended thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in courts on lawyers just trying to see their kids.
Oh, what's that one guy? He's a famous actor, Tyrese.
I don't know.
He's the El Jectocito cousin, the Fast and the Furious movies. Yeah, dude, I just saw something about him on was it Facebook? He's going through some court battles, or just did, or something, and like he says something about along the lines of like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start helping all fathers. I think he started a foundation or something. Don't quote me on that, but I know
gonna have to look into that.
It's kind of interesting to see somebody with a higher social status than me or you, going through this, like the same things. You know what I mean? Just something I observed.
I know. And the funny thing is like their dad. Are there deadbeat dads out there?
Yes,
there are. 100%. There are. Let's not sugarcoat it. There are dads that should not be dads, and 100% understand that. Are all dads deadbeat dads?
No.
And I would argue, just based on some of the communities online that I've seen and talking about it, there's probably greater than 50% that want to be involved, that are being.
I think not all the time, but I think sometimes, like we were saying, the relationships end so badly that they're like, I don't know what to do now. Like, I want to be there. They're conflicted, I guess is the word I'm looking for. They want to be there for the child, but they don't want to deal with the mother.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you're going to have to at some point. You know what I mean? So what's more important? Is spending time with your child, seeing your child more important?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I understand the argument. And I think that's kind of where there's a lot of gray areas that come in, because if that woman is so toxic and you can't do that without getting your own safety in trouble.
No, absolutely.
But then at the same time, that is also the argument of, why are you abandoning your child to someone that you can't even.
But see, at the same time, you shouldn't have to explain yourself to somebody. Like, I'm not abandoning my child, so off. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know my situation.
No, because most dads are not abandoning their children.
No.
Most dads can no longer have the will to fight. To
dude. Children. I used to hate arguing when it's every day. Every look. Or
it is extremely hard to do that. Is it worth doing it? Yes, especially if you come out the other side and you are victorious, it is definitely worth it.
Oh, you mean the fighting for the child? Oh, I thought
not fighting with them.
I was
No,
like,
no, no, fighting
no,
for the
man.
child. I completely understand because you don't want to deal with that, but at the same time, you kind of have to.
Yeah,
It's one of those kind of gray areas. Like, at
yeah,
what
yeah.
point? And unfortunately, there's a lot of men out there that have hit that point where it's just easier to walk away because they no longer have anything left to give.
Yeah.
And they are
Yeah.
considered deadbeat dads. And it's not that they're deadbeat dads,
They can't do it anymore.
It's that they have been basically stripped down to nothing. They have nothing left.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is like you hear all these stories about what the man did.
Yeah.
The father did. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. Or he did this. He did that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
Where's the accountability?
Well, don't you know this?
You know,
women aren't accountable. You can't hold them accountable. I mean, that's one of the reasons
about that double standard.
There is a complete double standard. So it ties back into feminism. Feminism hates double standards that favor the man.
Yeah.
The unfortunate part about that is there's not a lot of double standards that favor the man. There are a lot of double standards that favor the woman, however. Yeah. But you don't see men griping, complaining about that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you don't. And this is not everybody's situation. This is, I think, just a little bit of personal experience.
Yeah.
You know, and what we've seen and read and stuff like that. So obviously, this is a hot topic, a little spicy one, but you know, take what we say with a grain of salt. Yeah.
You know, these are based on anecdotes, right? You know, these are things based on our personal experience.
Exactly.
Are there great women out there?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dude.
Are there horrible men out there? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Are there great men out there? 100%.
Yep.
You know, it is what it is. I mean, you just can't. We're humans. We're all have different views on, you know, we perceive the world slightly differently.
Yeah.
Reality is what it is, but our perception of reality is what kind of molds our thoughts.
Yeah.
So
what's up?
Yeah. I mean, don't give up. I think that's my final message. Is don't give up. You know, it may grind you down to where you're nothing, but it's very,
well, you'll feel like you're nothing, but you are something.
Yeah.
Like that.
So
let it go.
Let's say you finish this court battle. You know, obviously you have custody of some of your children.
Yes.
And you don't see some of your other children.
Yes.
So you're kind of getting all perspectives.
Oh man, I got several. So with my first 3 kids, I don't get to see them. Okay. And I don't push to see them either because. All right. Thank you, CenturyLink, for that unscheduled delay interruption.
Yeah. Horrible service.
Yeah.
Horrible service. So where we left off was I was asking you about you being able to see some of your kids, but not being able to see some of your other ones.
Yeah.
And how that affects you.
Well, with my the first 3 kids that I had, I was told by a mutual friend of me and the biological mom that I was dead. And I was like, well, that's news to me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know, but it's not that I don't love those kids anymore, any less or anything like that. It's just after a certain amount of time, like, cause I used to do all these things. I don't go out of my way to try to join, you know what I mean? Be a part of their life. But after so long of being told, no, you can't talk to them. No, you can't see them. You know, I wanted to be a dad so bad that, I mean, I had kids with someone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're right here. I can't keep sacrificing myself, you know, for children that think that I'm dead.
Yep.
So you know, hopefully in the future, somehow fate will line up and we'll meet each other and I can tell them my side of the story.
Yeah.
Because right now they only hear their moms.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I'm not bad mouthing their mother. You know, she did what she thought was right. You know what I mean? So you do that. You do you. But I'm not going to sit here and keep beating myself up over something that I have no control over. You know what I mean? And
you have to pick your battles. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It sucks. Don't get me wrong, because I think about those kids all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I get pictures every once in a great while from, you know, people here and there. Hey, what's up? You know, look who I see today or saw today. And that's that shit gets, emotional. I usually have to take a good 10-15 minutes to gather myself because, like I said, dude, I love my kids, regardless of whatever. If you hear anything about me, I am a good dad. um, but now, and with the kids that I do have now, you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's awesome to be a dad.
100%.
So,
that kind of leads into the next thing, which is the struggles and the routines, right? So you have no struggle with that routine because you don't have
it's non-existent. Yeah.
But there are struggles when you are co-parenting.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily
you would know better about that than I do.
Luckily for you, you kind of don't really have to co-parent.
No.
And co-parenting is very positive for the children, but at the same time, there are struggles involved with co-parenting.
I can only imagine the conflicts of those types of relationships.
It's about scheduling, right? Because I have a schedule, she has a schedule.
Yeah.
And then the kids have schedules, right? It's all about scheduling and then making sure that our routines are matching up.
Yeah.
Does that happen all the time? Not necessarily,
I can see, okay, well, little Billy's got to go to baseball practice. Well, I can't do that because Susie's got to go to choir practice. 100%. I could see how, especially if that relationship has like they decide to have children again with somebody else, how the schedules could conflict. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Schedules could have open communication, like, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Or this is what I have going on. How do we actually transition the kids from them over to coming with me or vice versa?
Mm-hmm.
Scheduling pickups and drops offs. The communication is very important. And one key thing I want to say on communication is communicate with the mother. Do not communicate through the children.
Yeah. Right? They are not pawns.
They are not your pawns. Little things, sure. Like, hey, could you whatever?
Yeah.
Could you let your mom know to give me a call? Yeah. Something like that.
Understood.
Easy. But don't go through them for bigger things that you need to talk with. Go directly to their mother.
Yeah, and you don't have to talk to them personally. You can send a text message. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to.
And then this does tie in somewhat with without co-parenting is how do you communicate with the children while you're going while they're living with you, right? So obviously the ones you don't get to see, you don't have any communication with, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the ones you do have sole custody of, how do you communicate and how do you keep their interest in their mother around, right? As well, because
it's a good question. So when my kids got to a certain age, they asked, hey, what's up? Yeah. Okay. And so it was like, all right, well, I guess it's time, and I showed them some pictures because I still have, some things from that relationship. And so I showed them pictures. I was like, this is her. You know what I mean? This is your biological mom. You guys aren't dumb. Here we go. And so it was just honesty is the best policy. Yeah. If they're of age, remember that they have because you could tell a 2-year-old and they're not going to retain anything. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to give a shit.
Make sure it's age appropriate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So with my kids, I just told them, like I keep saying, man, my side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I left certain things out because it wasn't age appropriate.
Question for you.
Yeah.
So you're giving your side of the story. Are you having a third party, unobjective side of the story being told as well? So the reason I say that is because, unfortunately, my oldest's mom is not around. So he doesn't necessarily ever get the chance to know her.
Yeah.
Which makes it extremely difficult because I only have my perspective on him.
Uh-huh.
But luckily for him, he's got a grandma, her mom, that is very open about things and talking with him. So
that's good.
It from that aspect is very important. But what about where the ex is still alive? It's just not very good. No communication there. Do you have third parties that kind of know her that can talk to him as well?
No. Okay. So her mother, their kids' grandma used to send gifts for Christmas.
Okay.
It might have been birthdays too. I'm not positive on that, but and that's all it was just a gift. There no card that I can remember anyways. Like could be wrong, but I don't remember a card or a letter, or anything like that. Just here. And to me, that came off like, oh, well, you're just trying to like look good. You know what I mean? And people are like that, but I don't know for a fact. So
Yeah. That's just your perception on it.
Yeah, my perception on it. But I would always, I used to tell them, and I still tell them this to this day, like, hey, you know what? Your mom probably still loves you, but she made some bad choices.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because honestly, that's what it was.
Bad choices.
Yeah. Everybody makes bad choices. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's honestly the best way to tell them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 100%. Like, we and your mom, we both made bad choices. Cause I always tell them, hey, I'm not a saint in this situation. Like, you know what I mean? I messed up too. But you guys see how hard I am, work, or how hard I work with us.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you saw me go through the divorce. They were old enough. They saw me try to get a hold of it. They saw me do everything. So they have their own opinion on it. But I didn't like set up certain conversations to make myself look like the good guy. No, I pretty much laid it all out on the line. Look, you know what I mean? Because they were old enough.
Yeah.
And fair. So
which is smart, which is good.
Yeah. So that's that.
So last kind of topic here is, we're relationships ended. We talked about how we communicate with our children, how we communicate with their exes, if it is applicable. But how do you move forward? Like, so obviously you've met another woman and you guys are now married.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best way to introduce other people into your child's life? Or is there a best way?
Honestly, I don't know if there is a best way. You know what I mean? Like, you fall for somebody or you start romanticizing with somebody, and it's just kind of like, hey, I think it's more on the other person than it is the kids in that situation, because it's like, hey, I got kids.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to be down with this, then you shouldn't even meet them to begin with.
Quick tangent.
Yeah, absolutely. I love these.
Random question is, do you think it's easier for a single father to date or a single mother to date?
I think it's probably easier for a single. Well, okay, wait. So is it who's actually seeking? Or wait, no, that's a bad way to word it. Like, now, is it the mother or the father are seeking more relationships, or are they just accepting?
So I guess they're seeking. Who is it going to be easier for to find another relationship?
Oh, I think it's gonna be easier for the woman to find somebody.
You think?
Yeah.
I would take the opposite argument.
You think?
I think it's easier for the man.
Well, in that I can only go off of my experience in that situation. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like, I'm using my ex-wife as the example for this. Because hop, skip, and a rock's throw, she was, you know what I mean?
I think it's easier for women to find other men. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
100% agree with that. I'm talking taking him seriously.
Oh, taking into him seriously?
Relationship. 100% it's easier for women to find men.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were saying.
No, I'm talking like entering into a new relationship.
I don't know. I think that depends on the person, honestly.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Because it was like what we were talking about earlier. Like, if you've already left the relationship 3 months prior to you actually leaving the relationship, then that person's going to be more apt to, okay, I'm done with this. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
If that's what they're seeking.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that don't even bother with that. They're like, no, I'm just going to stick to my kids. My kids come first. My kids come first. And that's admirable. But I don't think that's healthy to an extent as well.
Yeah. Agreed.
So
kids are a priority, but they can't be your only priority.
Exactly. Right. You have to take some time for yourself.
Especially if the way I view it is this. As a father, you can do the disciplinary, you can set the boundaries, but you cannot provide the nurturing.
Yeah.
As a mother, you can provide the nurturing, but you can't set the boundaries as effectively, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some crossover. You can do some.
Yeah.
Masculine and feminine tendencies. But it's easier for a woman's role. So it is, in my mind, it would be beneficial, not just for me, but for my children to have a strong motherly influence as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
Not to supplant their mothers, but to add to it, right?
Yeah.
For when they're around me. So that way they're getting a more wholesome environment to grow up in.
Yeah.
This leads into our next show. because we're going to be getting a little bit more in detail on this one.
Yeah.
Which is the healing process, which you
Yes.
which you brought up quite a bit during the show.
I don't know, man. It's just how my life went. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Focusing on introducing the kids, because there is a lot to unpack there, I think.
Yes.
Right. Not, I wouldn't stake the grant or the stance that you did where it's upon them. I think you have to have an active role as well.
Yes.
I would agree with you that communication has to come from your partner, but how do you actually define when that happens? That's what we should get a little bit more
next
into.
Week.
And then lastly, how do you date as a dad?
Oh God.
You know,
are we talking about that right now, or are we saving that one?
This is going on our next episode,
okay, well,
right? Yeah.
Tune in.
This is our conversation points. You know, we covered quite a bit on our first video.
I think this was an important episode.
This is a very important episode regarding the court battles and making sure that you don't give up.
Yeah.
And then our next video is, what do you do after? Right? You have to move forward. So,
well, you don't have to. You can stay living in the past, but it's not good.
I wouldn't recommend doing.
No,
that.
Exactly.
Don't stay in the past. Let's move forward.
Yep.
So let's talk about it.
See you guys later.